Hey everybody, it's Mike. Oh, that's my autopilot jail almost. I'm here, I'm back. I think this is working now. I did a video a little while ago with this exact same title, but with no video at all. So if you want to hear just the audio portion of it, you can do that. If not, this is take two after my first practice video, and I did a test where the video actually came through. So I'm fairly confident that you guys are actually seeing me right now. So let's get right into it. All right, this is talking about life of brake pads. I'm going to talk about my experience from three of my most recent vehicles I've owned. I do a ton of driving considering I'm somebody that does not drive for a living. I've owned a 1992 Honda Civic that I drove myself for 20 years and 360 something thousand miles, so through a rod in the engine. I owned and still own a 2012 Lexus CT200, which is a hybrid. Toyota's hybrid technology. They make awesome hybrid vehicles. They not so great with battery electrics, but they got some amazing hybrid systems that they've invested a lot of money into. We'll talk about that. And then my Tesla Model X I own right now. I'll actually go back. 2012 Lexus, 190,000 miles on it, 190. And I'm on the original brake pads on that, okay? I've got my 2017 Tesla Model X I'm in right now with full software, full autopilot, unlimited supercharging, all kinds of stuff. I tow with it, a lot. Tow heavyweight with it. 172,000 miles, 4.5 years, and I'm on the original brake pads. So let's talk about that. What can we expect out of brake pads? Well, my old Civic, I was probably getting like 50,000 miles out of the front pads. A lot of those generation Hondas, the front wheel drive ones, you want to go through the front pads much quicker than the rears. And of course, your driving habits made a huge difference as to how long those pads actually lasted. If you're a good balanced driver and you can anticipate things on the road and you downshifted, which would kind of eat the transmission, and I will tell you, I didn't have to replace the transmission at all. I didn't downshift. I did a little bit, but if you can coast and you cannot have to slam on the brakes, make panic stops, those kinds of things, you can get 50,000 or plus miles out of your brake pads, no problem. Some of the older or newer front drive cars would go through, and maybe they still do go through rear pads faster than fronts because of the balance of the braking system. Anyway, then I got my Lexus, and I have not had to change the pads yet at all. And I'm also a very concerned driver. I do mostly highway driving and was trying to get all my mileage I could out of these cars. The four-door Civic 92 1.6 was great. I think I got close to 40 miles to the gallon most of the time. But in the Lexus, I got over 50 miles to the gallon, average, way over 50. And I know that since my wife has taken over, Denise, she's a great driver, but she's not as concerned about the mileage as I am. So she doesn't anticipate as much. She ends up using the brakes. Now, what does that mean, use the brakes? On a hybrid, it's the same exact experience as in an ICE vehicle. ICE meaning internal combustion engine. Anything that explodes pistons, moves them up and down, creates poison gases in the exhaust, that's ICE. And those cars, they're not as efficient to drive. Basically, you'll find out this because if you drive a hybrid efficiently, you've got the battery system, you've got the electric motor in there too. In addition to the regular engine, you can let the regeneration of the electric motor spinning in reverse, the driveline spinning in reverse, save you all kinds of. I'm going to move over here. Save you all kinds of fuel and lower your driving costs. That's the whole idea. So you don't know unless you're looking at your gauges if you're into the regen or you're into the conventional brakes. It's regen first on a hybrid, and then conventional kicks in after that if you push too hard. Okay, basically that's it. There's a gauge. You should be able to see it, and you want to touch the brake pedal to slow the car down because otherwise it's going to coast. Just coasts like you're in neutral, I guess, until you push on that brake pedal, and then regen starts to set in, which is what you want. And then the minute regen kind of transitions over to conventional, it's still doing regen, but it's also needing the boost of conventional, then you're wasting fuel. You're wasting energy. You're not driving as efficiently. You're not driving in a balanced state. And again, you got to anticipate all this stuff, right? You got to look down the road. You got to see what's happening, and you got to brake before you need to in advance, or let off the accelerator in advance so you don't need a brake. So anytime you're into the conventional brakes, you're eating up your conventional brake pads for one thing, and you are wasting fuel. So when I was driving I was trying to not do that, and like I said, over 50 miles a gallon average. I think it was like 54 by the time I handed it off to Denise, because my computer calculated the whole time I had the car. It would constantly update. And the other thing is, you need to use those brakes. Even if you're a great driver like me and you're getting great gas mileage, if you're not using the brakes, the caliper pins are not sliding, they're not moving, they're not breaking corrosion off. The pistons that are in there that actually push against, that clamp this caliper against the brake rotor are not moving in and out. They need to move. Mechanical things, any kind of machines, your body, you're all designed to move. You got to move. Otherwise, you will die. You'll quickly die. Actually, you'll shut down. That's what ends up happening with machines that aren't used. They'll seize up. We don't want that. But if you live in a cold climate, especially, you might run into the problem of having your calipers, your pistons seize up on your brakes. That happened to me in my 92 Honda Civic, and I ended up having to replace some of the calipers because of that. And I lived in a cold climate. I went in a lot of winters. My Model X has only been in the winter a few times. I did a video about the falcon wing doors and snow up in northern Pennsylvania. It's only happened a few times, and I'm hoping it doesn't affect the life too much, because I have Model S and X are mostly aluminum cars, and Model 3 and Model Y are different. They have a lot of steel components on them, but Model S and Model X are mostly aluminum, which is cool. But still, I wouldn't necessarily think that that's going to solve everything, because even most calipers most calipers are steel parts. They do rust faster than aluminum, but aluminum can't be used like in those calipers because of the heat. So anyway, then we go on to my Tesla. On a Tesla, and most battery electric vehicles, if they're designed well anyway, well, not even to design well, it's a design choice. You're not going to freewheel. You will never freewheel in a Tesla, all right? If you let off the accelerator, you're going to start into regen immediately. And that's a problem in the snow. Like if you're heading down a hill in the snow, you might lock your brakes or something and lose control. So you kind of keep that in mind. But basically, you never want to touch the brake pedal in a Tesla or other similarly designed no coasting setup. And Tesla could change that in the future with software settings. But the way it is right now, you're not gonna coast. You're gonna either be into the accelerator and using battery power to propel the vehicle, or you're gonna let off. And if you're kind of in the middle, you can let it coast by feathering against the accelerator with your foot. But if you don't do that, you're going to be straight into regen braking, and pretty powerful regen braking. It's full all the time. That's the way the software is right now. It used to have a setting to dial that back on 3 and Y, but those are gone on the recent software updates. So the idea on a Tesla or other battery electric is just never touch the brake pedal. Never touch it. That's it. And let me know in the comments how much you guys have gotten out of your brake pads, how much mileage. Like I said, I got 172,000 on my car, and still on the original brake pads. I'm hoping for like 300,000. I'm hoping. I got a jab in them every once in a while for a panic stop, every once in a while. And every once in a while, that's good. That's good for the calipers, because otherwise they're not going to get their exercising. It does, wear the pads down. Pads are consumable. But as long as it's only every once in a long while, you're fine. Kind of like any other bad habit, right? Just do it every once in a long while, you're fine. Don't make a regular thing out of it. That's the thing. Don't make a regular thing about it. Your driving costs will go way down. That's the thing. Battery electric vehicles and hybrids have lower cost of ownership, especially battery electric vehicles. I'll tell you, not only are hybrids more efficient to drive because of lower fuel costs, if you drive them well in a balanced manner, using foresight, looking down the road, anticipating slowdowns, not having the jab on the brakes, no jackrabbit starts either, then, whoa, there's a bug. Sorry, this fell on me. That's my car. You'll have lower costs. The step down is the hybrid, and then step down again to battery electric vehicles. Much, much lower operating costs. There really isn't not much maintenance at all on a Tesla. It's just things that you just got to catch them before they completely break and leave you stranded, like my air conditioning compressor, my pump for my air suspension, these kind of things. And that's it. So I look forward to reading your comments. Let me know how you've been doing. Share this video with others. And I have lost my autopilot. So it's time for me to go. This is Mike, signing off.